Hi everyone, so we're discussing the results of the latest poll which asked the question, if you're going to use colloquialisms in your marketing materials, are these going to be taken pretty much as product claims that you need to be able to support and evidence? Now the results were again relatively 50-50, but most people did say that yes, they thought it was likely that it would constitute part of your product claims. Now the case I'm taking this off from is one of my favourites, 3785623, involving GSK and an inhaler they have for COPD called Trelegy. On the web page for this there was a video, and in the video part of the voiceover said there is life in the old dog yet. And the complainant alleged that this was a product claim that the inhaler extended life expectancy, which the inhaler does not, and therefore they felt it was misleading and not capable of substantiation. The panel considered this, but they found that it was an established colloquialism in common usage, and as such it was going to be highly unlikely that it was going to be misinterpreted or taken as a claim for extending life expectancy. So they did not find any breach there. What I would say is that this is highly context dependent. If you have, for example, a lovely leaf piece all about your product, and then that you said something like, it's the bee's knees, and notice that I've carefully avoided the dog version of that comment, but in that case it would be more likely to be taken as directly describing the product, and therefore you would have to substantiate that most likely. So as I say, highly context dependent here. Although there was no breach over that, there were issues elsewhere. The marketing campaign overall was rather nice. It was about the man and his dog and his ability to take the dogs for walks. And as part of it, there was the catchphrase, Trevor trusts Trelegy. Now the complainant said that it was ambiguous as to whether Trevor was the man or the dog, and there was some internal documentation from the company suggesting that they had also discussed whether or not this would be ambiguous. The complainant said, well, it's not licensed for dogs and animals, and also how can they tell that Trevor does trust Trelegy? Where is the evidence? So the panel again considered this, and although overall they felt that from the materials it was clear that Trevor was the dog, they did agree that it did not explain really anywhere on the web page why Trevor trusted Trelegy. And also there was no evidence that could substantiate that the dog Trevor did trust Trelegy. So in that case, there were found to be breaches of 6.1 and 6.2. So the moral of this story, I guess, is that be creative, yes, but when you are, you need to carefully consider how this might be taken or seen by other people, and if you can actually substantiate it, because it won't necessarily be taken as a light-hearted or throwaway comment. I hope you enjoyed that, and as always, let me know if there's anything else you want to discuss in the comments.